Boom.
Oh, and let's make this look. Hello, everybody. Oh, look at this. And the screen is not ready. How mean. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gaz Williams Show.
Hello.
Mr. Finlay Shakespeare is joining us today. But let's get this screen to look better. Why? Look, we're having lots of technical problems here. I'm so sorry. I thought I was all ready, but clearly not.
This is why I'm terrified of streaming beyond belief.
Yes, be terrified. It's yes, there we go. That's
Great.
Right. Okay. Hello again. Yes. Now we can
we can safely attest.
1 meter.
Yeah. We are a meter apart.
We're a meter apart, so just that's just for the.
You got to stay safe.
That's okay. Great. Okay, so just need to make sure that everybody can hear everything and that we're not too loud. Hope that this is all okay.
Too loud.
Hello. Right. Yes. Good. Okay. Right. I asked Finlay to come and join us on the show today because, for people who've been following the show, have probably been watching how this thing has kind of been growing and getting more and more complicated and has been, frankly, sort of doing my head in a little bit because there's a lot to learn with Modular. And although I've been playing around with synths for a very long time, 30 odd years, Modular introduces a whole load of ideas that you typically don't normally have to kind of deal with, with dealing with voltages and whatnot and attenuators, stuff like that, lots of new jargon and lots of kind of possibly kind of confusing, well, certainly I'm finding it a bit confusing, reasons. Okay, maybe I can understand you can get this and this, but for what musical benefit?
Okay.
I typically am always thinking in musical ways, as opposed to it being just purely sound exploration, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But what I should say, everybody, if you haven't ever checked out Finlay's music, it's amazing.
Oh, bless you.
And we did actually have a play of Routine on the very first ever show, which was brilliant.
Thank you.
But something that's really special when you see Finn perform is that he uses his modular rig to give him backing and then sings vocals live over the top and do quite a bit of real-time manipulation.
Messing about.
But it's like proper songs and proper kind of, I say that, I don't mean that in any sort of derogatory way to people who are just doing soundscape things, but you do proper songs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought you'd be like the perfect person to come and help me on my little quest, really, because,
sure.
I typically am thinking about Modular in terms of songwriting and chords and more traditional form.
Yeah.
And as I've not really totally embraced this idea of just chasing sort of voltages around and manipulating voltages into some sort of musical form. I stumbled upon some stuff, but I thought it'd be really cool if you could help me build a patch.
Yeah.
Disclaimer: you haven't had a play with this.
I have not seen the system until today.
Right.
I've got no idea really what a lot of this stuff even does. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a jump down into the rabbit hole of Modular for both, I think, me and Gaz's extended journey with what you've got. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, to start off with, we've got the mini brute in front of us as well, haven't we? Which is, I think, a very good thing to kind of couple.
Let's have a look. Yeah.
You've obviously got this patch bay over here, and that gives you a lot of the building blocks of having basic bread and butter synthesis there. So you're not already kind of spending, rows and rows and rows of modules just to get your kind of basic subtractive synth.
I know, but I have been told that maybe that the mini brute has been something that's been It's like almost
really?
almost like having
Okay.
stabilizers, or what do they call them in America?
Yeah.
Stabilizers.
Like like on the
balance wheels
bike.
on a bike.
Yeah.
That it's kind of that it keeps me in in very familiar territory.
I think that's a little bit unfair, personally. Not to say that anyone's wrong, but that's not my personal experience. I mean, I think I don't know. I've been a synth geek for far too long, and I really couldn't wrap my head around modular at all. I mean, I started with software, first off, and things like Reactor and even like Vaz. I remember Vaz, and getting your head around signal flow. It really does help, in my opinion, if you've got something there already that kind of says, well, okay, you can always fall back onto this to just get a sound out. And there's a lot of interesting things. I mean, my mind's already kind of starting to make things up where we could, say, okay, well, we'll take this sound on this synth and then process it with, various bits of control and audio through the modular.
Okay, well. What I'll do is, first is just give a little bit of a walkthrough on what's going on in the module, because look at this beauty that's arrived. This is the data. Now, this I've been talking about how it would be amazing to get an oscilloscope in this rig, so I can actually see what's going on. So what we'll try and do is, I guess, if we can put it through the oscilloscope, then we can at least, that can help us show some stuff. Now, that has meant I've had to move a few things around, and keen observers may notice that I've actually temporarily taken the Disting EX out of the rack. Now, that was a new arrival from last week, and something which is amazing. I'm really, really into it. But I've taken it out just for now, just so we can deal maybe with a few more, traditionally, or I don't know, because the Disting it sort of just does everything.
I mean, it's kind of like a small system in its own right, really.
Yeah. So that's the reason for that. So we're going to be doing a lot more with the Disting in future. So that will be absolutely back probably from next week. But anyway, so let's see what we've got. So we've got the Moog, this distortion here, and actually these three all from DPW, and a tenuverter, and then a limiter. Now this limiter can be like process AC or DC. Now I'm kind of curious about using that one, and maybe we can see the effects of the limiter on the oscilloscope. Then we've got stereo mixer. Now this stuff, most of this on here, I don't think we'll use today, so we won't use the effects and the clouds and those sort of things. So we'll kind of stay more in the kind of analog mono realm. Now along the bottom left, the Schlappy angle grinder, which I'm starting to get now. I read the manual. I have read the manual now, which is something I've been meaning to do, and something which I haven't fully finished yet doing on these three Chaos devices, or the and those things really, really interesting. But of course, maybe today though we could be using the just the ADSR from here.
Yeah, sure.
Because the Zadar is, I've been having a lot of fun exploring that.
Yeah. Very
interesting approach to envelopes. Then there's a waveform utility module in the Samara next door, which again, now that's something that I'm hoping that we could experiment a little bit with.
Yeah, sure.
And then the Batumi, which is a 4-channel LFO, and is something that I'm starting to feel really quite confident with now. Good. And it's very, very cool. Something I've noticed about the Batumi is there is a little breakout that you can get for it, another little thing called the Poti.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen that.
And that allows you to get instant access to some things which you can get to if I unscrew it and get it from the back. That is, there's an assignable waveform output there. I think if you can choose on the back panel, you can choose what that waveform is.
That's cool.
So the little Poti lets you choose those waveforms. And then the other thing is there's a switch which swaps the reset input into to be sync instead, rather than reset.
Okay, so almost like a tap tempo thing then.
Yeah, so cool. I guess I could be putting a gate from the sequencer in here. and clocking. And that makes sense on the Batumi to think if you were using it in the quad mode, then that fit, and have the clock coming in just to this one, then all of them would then be clocked.
Yeah.
So, interesting thing. Okay, and now here is another new arrival that the most keenest of eyes might have spotted. And yes, I have bought a VCA. I've bought a VCA, which was something that I never thought I'd ever do because I thought it were the most boring, pointless modules. Now, Finlay.
Yes.
You actually make VCAs, don't you?
Well, within other things, we don't actually have a dedicated VCA module as such yet.
Okay.
We've got a design, but we're not sure what to do with it. But yeah, I mean, they are, we do like a little Vectral-based thing. I end up using that in a lot of patches because even though the response of that is a little bit kind of more like you're gating things in and out rather than controlling, the amplitude perfectly, it's still really useful. I mean, there are so many things where I'm just thinking of like things like compressors, expanders, the inverse of you're using VCAs all the time in those effects. You're using VCAs in any kind of like modulation matrix where you can essentially multiply two signals together. So a lot of the time I look at VCAs as a way of multiplying signals.
Okay.
So, and that's a really... It's a really kind of like fundamental thing I think to understand is that as soon as you've got that, okay, I can use a VCA to control the depth of anything. So say if I had, I mean, perhaps the most immediate example that is given a lot of the time is kind of, the mod wheel doing vibrato on an LFO. So, the mod wheel is the control for the VCA. The LFO goes into the signal of the VCA. And you're just bringing up the depth of that into, the frequency of a VCO or something. It's all of that kind of thing, and
because that's the thing. When you relate it to things like compressors, or in fact, in this case here, I've been using the. It's been really to facilitate the Zadar, really. Zadar.
I would say Zadar, but then maybe.
I think they're all named after places, aren't they? Are they named after deserts?
I'm not sure.
Or something? Zadar. So it might be Zadar. Zadar. It's very exotic, whatever. It is super cool, though. I feel like that's something that because you can... Let's just a little refresher here. Could you just spizzle through some of them?
Yeah.
Because you've got all these different, like, shapes.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's and then you can just warp all of these shapes.
Oh, look at that.
It's just a different approach to
snazzy.
Envelopes. Yeah.
That is snazzy as.
Yeah.
That is really quite a thing.
And then play with the warp. So warp the one underneath it. So,
okay, that's neat.
Yeah, so you can really change the shape of them and warp them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat, actually.
And then you can send CV into that warp, so you can be warping all those envelopes in.
I like this, how they've made the encoders kind of like speed sensitive as well. So if you want a big change, you go, whoa!
Fast speed.
Whoa!
Yes.
And it does it.
I've been finding... do you know what? I was thinking... I'm glad you spotted that. I was thinking that is almost how to do encoders on there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I wish had that.
Yeah, good. So just continuing our little tour then. So the VCA next door, we've got the Suit and Tie Guy, STG Sound Labs Sea Devils filter. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, that's the EMS.
The EMS filter.
Yeah. Super tasty.
Yeah, and then the data. So this thing, though, I say it's an oscilloscope, but it can also be a spectrum analyzer, a spectrograph, a tuner, which super useful. But wave outputs, you can actually use it as a 2 VCOs. Well, not VCO. Wow. I guess I guess a digital. But some dual oscillator.
Amazing.
And then in the clock output, you can send out 4 different clocks. So you can put a single clock in and then take loads of different divisions out. And then
really neat.
I think my favourite one, at the moment, is the voltage meter. And this, like, in its very basic form, I could just, like, I'm going to tap out from the LFO LFO 1, put it into input 1, and then
it just immediately gives you the LFO on.
And then we got our LFO going on
Right.
there. So as I play with my LFO speed,
it gets faster. Great.
yeah. And you can see the four
at once.
four
That's
at once.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really handy.
Yeah. So that's another way of looking at it. I mean, I could go to the oscilloscope. Now, do you use oscilloscopes?
Yeah, I mean, all the time at work. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you might be able to help me out here. So now, in order for me to see this, I can adjust the time that we're looking at it. So let's get this. How do you sort of make it, trigger it, and then normal? There we go.
Yeah. So essentially, on a oscilloscope, you usually have kind of two axes that you're always taking care of. So the y-axis is the voltage going into it, and then the x-axis is some kind of time, typically. But this kind of, I mean, this goes back to like the old, analog scopes of the day. You would have a ramp oscillator that was actually controlling the x-axis, and if you wanted that to lock on to like the transient of your waveform, you would have to synchronize it essentially to that transient. So you would have like a threshold control to say, okay, well, when it's above this voltage, you snap the ramp back to a certain point on the screen.
Gotcha.
Oscilloscope technology being really geeky is amazing.
No, I mean, I really think this is something I'm going to just grow to be, grow to love and find indispensable, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's. Oh yeah, and then finally we've got the Rosie, which is still in the doghouse because this line out thing is, I have to tweak it to get it.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed about that. Boo. Anyway, moving on. Just want to say thank you though to see there's a lot of Zadar is in Croatia. There we go.
Oh, cool.
So they are.
That's good to know.
Yes, VCA is good for sidechaining, optical compressor, right? Yes, good. Just having a quick catch up with some of the comments. Thank you again, everybody, for joining in. Really appreciate all of this thriving community that goes on there.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, okay.
Fantastic. Hello to everyone watching, I guess.
Yes. Hello. And hello again. I've actually been on Sonic State today, so some of them were on there as well. So I don't want them to get just quite too sick of me just yet. So this is why it's really nice having you here.
Oh, bless.
Okay, so let's start. Let's build a patch. So now, okay, so we're building a patch from scratch.
Yeah.
Where would you start? Would you start with an oscillator?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what I'm going for. So a lot of the time, I was actually working on a track yesterday where I was given this bass part. It's a collaborative thing, and given this bass part, and I thought, well, they've just used a plugin. That's all they've got at the moment, and one of my tasks is to take a lot of the MIDI and put it into analog stuff and make it sound a bit more analog, I guess. And it's interesting because I went to a VCO and I said, well, I really like the character of this VCO. It was a live wire AFG, if anyone knows that thing. And I wanted to take that through, a filter that wasn't super angry, but I could get like a little bit of bite out of. And I've got a Dope-for filter that's really good for that. I've had it for years. And lo and behold, it did exactly what I wanted it to do. And this is what you'll find with this stuff. The more that you use it and the more of it that you accrue, which is a little bit of a dangerous thing, you'll start to find that it's a lot like kind of having a pedal board. It's a lot like having, different guitars, different basses. You get to learn what each thing is good at. Or
it's like, so when people say, you twat, why have you got so many guitars? I always like to say, yeah, you're calling me a twat for having loads of guitars. But, I mean, like, you wouldn't say that to a plumber. If a plumber opened up his van and you saw loads of wrenches and spanners, you would think, there's someone who knows what he's doing.
Well, I always think it's a bit like painting. You wouldn't say that to, an artist and say, you've got too many colours.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Good. This is the justification.
Yeah.
This is the one that you need. This is the, so just remember this. You can wheel this one out just sort of when you've brought the umpteenth thing back that day.
Picasso used different colours. That's all you've got to wheel out.
Yeah. If it's good enough for Picasso. Yes. Okay. So let's have a look. So right then. Well, shall we go on? I tell you what.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this kind of thing. What if we sort of like patched in turn? You do something and then I'll do something.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to play it really safe, and I'm going to take we can take oscillator outputs, right? From the So I'm gonna patch that straight into the input of the Sea Devils because I haven't heard this thing in years, and I really want to hear it again.
Yeah. Well, actually, why don't we just do that then? Why don't we just get the seed? Should we put that through the oscilloscope as well?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So we can use a shorter cable. This is the other thing that you learn with Modular is you become very proficient in cable management.
I'm not. I mean, I lack cable management in every aspect of my studio life. Okay.
So got a little bit of something there. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. We've got sound.
Is it the output on that just being a bit funky?
No, I reckon
that's up.
Oh, hang on. No, we're not coming. That's coming into the send.
That'll be it.
There we go. Okay, cool. Let's have a look what's going on here.
So if I then just bring the pitch of that down. So again, filters, like we often think of it as, you know, from a signal point of view as if it's a low pass, you're taking out the higher frequencies, you're taking out the upper harmonics. If you look at it on a scope, it's really interesting because you see less kind of transient material. You kind of start to, I guess, smooth all of that out. So you can hopefully see on data there.
Oh, it's going to sine wave now.
There you go. So that, I presume, is the fundamental. So if I then pitch that up, yeah, there, it's gone. So that's... When I was kind of like playing with all this stuff myself, that was one of the first things where I was like, oh wow, okay, I can actually see that.
Yeah.
And it's the converse with adverse. It's the other way around with a high pass. So if you sweep a high pass upward, you get more transient and you get less kind of gradual shallow slopes. And of course, also if you bring, in this case it's the response, the resonance of the filter.
Do you know why they call it response in EMS terminology?
It was just, I think it was just the time. I mean, you know, it's the same with the Moog stuff. On the Moog filters, it's regeneration.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, for the Moog example, it makes more sense because it's a feedback path. So you're regenerating the signal around.
Through, yeah.
Response, I don't know. I presume they were just saying, well, there's a boost in the kind of, you know, I guess, frequency response maybe of the filter. But, you know, there we can see that you start to get these peaks, these like little sinusoidal wobbles.
I can
boost. Should we boost the range?
The range. So for about 5. Oh yeah.
Whee, there we go. Yeah, top. So you can see that we're for each like peak of the sawtooth now, we've got a few little sinusoidal bumps. So what you're hearing there is actually the resonance or the response of that filter. Oh, it's just lovely, isn't it?
It's lovely.
I'm terrible with like really nice low pass filters because I can just spend ages just going
just
like
in that.
Oh, it's really nice, isn't it? And then of course we can turn it into self-oscillating, I think. Yeah, there we go.
So I should probably step that down a bit and back there.
Sorry if anyone's got a sub.
Aha.
But there we're more into just the filter doing its own thing and just oscillating around a sine wave.
Yeah.
They do very nicely. So yeah, that's kind of what our filter's looking like from an oscilloscope point of view.
Let's modulate that filter.
Yeah. So
right. Well,
I'll let you patch in turn. I was thinking because you wanted to kind of like go through, you know, the attenuverter stuff and things like limiting that we've got in the DPW modules.
Yeah.
We should play around with like maybe I think we can break it all out on this. I'm not entirely sure, but maybe having, you know, this filter and the mini brutes filter as well. We can send like the same oscillator through both filters, but then have them controlled differently from one envelope.
Okay.
So we could do some interesting, like, kind of like, well, you get a, I don't know. You get
let's do this then.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's. I don't need to patch. You do all the patching.
No, I don't want to take the fun away.
Oh, no, it's fun. This is all fun, believe me. No, but that's cool. No, but that's exactly the sort of thing. Because that's straight away you were splitting the signal up.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Fingers crossed we can link some loose ends. So what I'll do then is I'll take the ADSR from the mini brute.
Okay.
Is it that controls the filter, or is it the AD?
The ADSR is controlling the filter.
Cool,
but you know, you can essentially
patch anything over, right? So we'll take that ADSR, and what we'll do is we'll put that through the it's the AV one, isn't it? The kind of attenuverting one of Dan's modules. So we'll take that into the Sea Devils and then have the ADSR controlling the mini brutes filter just as is.
Okay.
And then we'll sum the two filters back somehow. I guess we could do it through Rosie.
I've got vibes going on now. I'm feeling excitement. This is it.
Okay.
This is it.
So what we'll do is we'll take the ADSR into channel A of the AV one. Hopefully that's low enough. It is there.
Yep, you got it.
Sweet. Yep. So that's going into channel A, and then again, apologies to Dan. I don't know if he's watching, but I have no experience of using this thing, but we'll see what happens. So I'll just go, I believe, out of A's output on the AV1.
Yes.
So now, hopefully, if I just play... do I need to... There we go. So you can hear now... I'll bring the resonance up. Let's make it really obvious. So what I'm doing here is I've got the ADSR from this patched through the AV1.
Yeah.
That's working at the moment kind of as a depth control.
Uh-huh.
So it's just, you know, doing your kind of standard cut-off envelope depth amount, I guess. And that's coming from here, so I can...
Yep, all makes sense.
Nice and easy, yeah.
Yep.
So then what we'll do is on the B channel of Rosie, let's just take the filter output from the mini brute.
Yeah.
So that is... Can we do it? Maybe we can't do it. Maybe we'll just have to take it from the VCA, but that's okay, that's fine.
Yep.
So then, hopefully, if I can figure out what I'm doing, which might take a while.
And because we're coming out of here, though, we're hearing it we're hearing just the direct waveform out here, aren't we?
Yes.
That wants to be coming out of the main out, really, doesn't it?
Well, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to essentially just listen to the filter of the mini brute. So I don't know. Does it have a direct output? And I've just totally missed it. Let me have another
of the
look.
Filter.
Yeah.
So we got FM. Outputs have got
resonance modulation.
Yeah, and outs are labelled in white.
Yeah. Okay. So we.
But
what I'm hoping, that's is this? Why have we got it? Let me just loop that envelope that's triggering that. So then hopefully we can just
the AD envelope. You see, this is what I'm really enjoying now, you see, is like when I'm trying to do this kind of thing on a video, and it's like everything's not what's going on. So yeah.
So what we'll do, let's just change that. Let's bypass Rosie.
We could take the filter of the angle grinder.
Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because we can definitely take so we need to
Sorry to the mini route, but
take all the damping off and put that all the way across.
Well, also what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a stackable, and I'm going to molt A to B, so we're now sending the same same envelope both through A and B. Hopefully this will make more sense in a moment. And then we're going to send. Now you might need to help me out with the angle grinder, because all I remember is Eric showed it to me at Super Booth once, and I fell on the floor. It was amazing, but I've got no idea what was actually going on.
It's
yeah.
Okay,
cool.
I'm kind of getting it now. As I say, I've been reading the manual.
That's good.
which I should have done before. Okay.
So I'm just gonna. Again, professional cable management.
Oh, I know. I've got to figure something out for that. I think those.
Let's do that.
Okay. Yeah. So we're tapping out the low pass.
Yeah. So Rose is definitely working.
Yeah.
It's just my incompetence with the mini brute that's doing something odd.
No. I think. Yeah. Actually, it's a good point. What?
Interesting. So, if I want to put this on filter mode, do I just take that all the way down?
No, take that all the way across to spin.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
damping all the way off. It's an oscillator, but then if you turn the damping all the way up.
Whoa.
Oh yeah. It gets kind of pretty crazy.
So then, and I can input a signal
into it. Yeah.
We might need another stackable.
Stackable, yeah. There we go.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, that's long enough.
So what we'll do is we'll again split the sawtooth that's coming from the mini brood.
Into the in.
Into the. Is that?
I know.
Inject
above,
or
yeah.
Whoa, crikey!
This is going actually.
That is quite something, isn't it?
That is quite something. Yeah. This damping needs to be. You need to turn the damping all the way up.
All the way up.
That'll damp down the oscillations.
Crikey, okay.
Yeah.
We're into. So then, is that the wave shaping part of it then?
Yeah, that's the input into the wave shaper. Yeah.
Oh, I need one of these, don't I? I thought coming here would be dangerous.
Oh yeah.
So, now what we've got, if I bring channel B up on the AV1, that's going to increase the envelope depth going to this. This is just in on FM1. I'm going to bypass FM1. I'm going to put it in FM2 because that hasn't got an attenuator on it.
Right.
So in this kind of instance, this is why you might want an attenuator module where you've got a modulation input, but there's no depth control there. So you're just like, I want to control the level of it.
Mm-hmm.
So now if I hopefully play the key, and let's just take the Sea Devils all the way out. What we're hearing is the envelope controlling that.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a little thing about the AV1. It's like, when they're at 12 o'clock, I think it's like positive and negative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. Okay. So then, again, just not entirely sure what I'm doing with this, but you can hear that that's having an effect on that, right?
Yeah.
So if I turn the damping that way, does that increase the resonance?
No, that'll bring the oscillator in.
That is wild.
Yeah. I think.
There we go.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's
cool.
Yeah.
That's
changing.
That's what I'm after. Cool.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's great. So now
that was changing the rate of the quadrature sine wave generator.
Right.
Which when it's using it as a filter.
Yeah.
Well, I think, is it the different stages? Oh, this is where I get a little bit confused with it.
Yeah, I'm still yet to really read into how Eric's done this, but I think I know what he's doing electronically, and it is nuts, and it's great. I love it. It's fantastic. It makes sense because you've kind of got like a quadrature filter that you're then bringing into oscillation by essentially ramping the feedback up. So when it's not
So it's based more on a filter topology that you can get an oscillator out
of it.
Right. As opposed, gotcha.
So we've got that kind of thing going on. I'm just intrigued now by what this does. Cool. Okay, so we've got the angle grinder doing the filtery thing there. I can then bring the Sea Devils back into the equation.
Yeah. I should just mention Dan is in the chat room. Yeah. He says you can take a version of A out of sum instead of multing A to B.
Okay.
Because we got the sum out there.
We might do that in a minute.
Oh, I see.
We'll keep it simple for the minute.
Right.
Try and keep it simple. And so what we can do now is we can kind of have this patch where, say, if I bring up the Sea Devils filter, I've just brought the A all the way the other way. So now it's inverted. Where 12 o'clock is your essentially minus infinity dB gain point, if you think of it that way, then reversing it that way, you're bringing the gain back up, but you've inverted it. Okay?
Yeah.
So can you hear we've got that stab of the angle grinder, but then the Sea Devils is coming back up?
Yeah.
So what we should then be able to do, hopefully going back to the mini brew, I hope it's forgiven me lack of experience, but hopefully what we can do, let's do it this way. So we should actually be able to bring both of these into the VCA and then monitor it through Rosie again. I'm really hoping this. Hey, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
So is that? Yeah, we're hearing both filters. Great.
Yeah.
Then if I...
Let's get rid of this one for a moment.
Sure.
That's a pretty cool sound.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
So where are the controls then for the VCA?
Just turn that up a little bit. I'm liking that.
See, that's how it works.
Aha.
Okay, it's its own VCA. That's neat.
Yeah, it's a standalone VCA.
Right, sorry, I thought that was after I thought that was hardwired after the filter. That's why we weren't getting anything out of it.
Aha.
So
I think it's
that's
normal
really handy.
if we weren't patching. Yeah.
But that's really handy. I didn't know that. So what we can do. So you can hear now that just through using that one ADSR, we've got this kind of like dual filtering thing.
Mm-hmm.
If I make this a lot longer, take the sustain down. Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. It's saying like, okay, I want this kind of like dual peaking kind of thing. I can do that really easily with attenuators, and then of course I can take it the other way. I can say like, well, I want that going that way. It's quite nice.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Just have a play with that.
Yes. Let's get a sequence on the go then. Let's just do. The worst sequence ever. Do you know what? I prefer apps in this case.
It's just easier, isn't it? I do this all the time at work. I'll get testing stuff and then just end up in this. That's lovely. And then if I change the attenuators again,
Yeah. Loving it.
And that's the thing. It's really what's nice about having a module like that is that you've got like a lot of modulation control just there, right in front of you. I mean, you can even do that with like one, okay, maybe a couple of fingers, maybe a finger and a thumb.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's done there.
So it really is just like, okay, I try and do this with the live rig quite a lot. It's just there are modules that I won't touch throughout a whole set. There are modules where I'll have my right hand on it all the time because it's just, okay, yeah, great, cool. I don't want to spam our own wares here, but we did a module. We did a module with Daniel Miller.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, I want this thing where it's just one big knob, but that alone is going through 6 attenuverters, and you can set the range of that knob per the attenuverter and the direction of it. So you can do, like, on one knob turn alone, you could say, like, well, okay, I'm changing 2 cutoff frequencies. If I had it going to VCAs with envelopes going in as the signal.
So it's like a macro knob in a way, I suppose.
Yeah, well, it's called macro.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah, that's exactly what it's doing. It's just those big changes, like, in one hit, bam, there you go. It's done for you. So anything like this, where you've got a lot of control possibilities, just like, there, reach it, go.
Yeah.
You know, that's immediately a completely different sound, but I'm still using the same patch. You know, this is what's really nice about having these. At first they might seem a little bit dull, but I gotta be honest, I get the most excitement now out of utilities. Things like switches, attenuverters, all of that, because from a live performance tool, and where I think you're kind of coming from into modular, it's really good, because it's suddenly like, okay, yeah, you know, it's kind of like hitting, you know,
like
a pedal or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of pedals,
Yes.
I've got this Moog as a pedal on my pedal board, and I love it. So it's really cool having it here. Now, you mentioned about switching. The only CV control on this is the on-off switch.
Right. Okay.
Should we do something with that?
Yeah. Should we LFO it?
Let's LFO it. Yeah. So should we just feed the master output then? Where's the?
Well, where
should that go?
I was going to wonder. Do you want, because this is so angry? Do you want to take just the Sea Devils into it, so then you can give the Sea Devils a bit more crunch? I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. So
Should we
just
try that?
Yeah. Let's do that then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can then take. I might be coming over your way for more patch cables.
Well, hang on. So like, hang on, there it is.
1 meter.
1 meter.
1 meter.
Yeah.
I mean, we can. Can we do this? I think we can do this.
Yeah.
If we take that in,
yeah.
then I'm hoping this will
Out. Great.
So then if I take... Oh, yeah, there we go. So now the C filters is going through the dance 4 band, which is...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. That's very nice, isn't it?
Let's just...
Got all that nice diode ladder acidiness from the EMS.
Yeah.
That's proper acid, that's correct.
Let's get it.
And again, it's palette. It's kind of what I was talking about earlier, right? It's like
Without.
There you go.
Yeah.
You've immediately got another colour to work with from that filter going into that distortion. So it's expanding, you know, it's adding another paintbrush to your collection. It's whatever it is. You know.
Gouache.
Yeah.
Bringing some gouache in. Let's mod that switch.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I'm just wondering, have you got a kind of like a random kind of sample and holdy thing anywhere? There might be one.
There is. We could take an LFO and we could set the LFO to sample and hold.
Ah, cool. Yeah, let's do that. So, let's do it on LFO2 because I feel like
LFO2, yeah.
So we can then set the sync to sequencer.
So to keep it in step with our oscillator, with our arpeggiator. Okay.
I'm just looking at the LED. I'm just doing this kind of deaf rather than blind, but hopefully we can then take the LFO2 out and put that in the on control. You can kind of hear that coming in and out. I was hoping that might be synced to the step, but it seemingly isn't. Let's try. Ah, wait. No, that's I got the wrong mode.
Oh, I think you need to go one more to.
Yeah, it's doing it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was on the noise.
No, sorry, noise.
Random.
Random is the second to last one. Yeah.
So now that's doing bringing the distortion in and out. So again, it's just kind of like a bit of an accent for that. So if we then bring... So again, you could even say like, okay, well let's invert the angle grinder CV. So that's like bouncing up after that immediate like kind of thing.
Yeah.
You've got almost, it's not a side chain feel, but you kind of know what I mean.
Yeah. And I guess we can make that more. Ooh, our oscilloscope is...
Data's going wild. Data's just looking at the output of the DPW at the
So we're just looking at audio, aren't we?
Yeah, we could look at... well, you could look at anything. We might need some more stackables, but... if there's
more
anything
stackables.
in particular...
Yes, I have another one, I think. There is another one somewhere. That blue one, is it?
I think that's...
No.
Yeah.
No.
We had it earlier. It was...
There's the red one is in use. I got 3. I'm gonna have to buy some more.
They are incredibly ususeful. I bought some more recently.
Right.
Yeah,
I only had my first ones last week, you see, so I was showing them off, saying that, I feel like, because I go on about the Nurleys, like Nurleys and stack cables. I was feeling like, yes, and attenuverters, these are all things that are new in my life,
Yeah. This is the thing, it's often like the smallest things that end up really change your life. Hopefully this isn't life for anyone. I'd be a bit concerned if that was the case, but it is a bit game changing in terms of like how you use this stuff, because you suddenly think, oh great, I can, going back, if you had like an envelope follower and you had, I don't know, drums going into your modular and you've got a VCA, but you had no way of inverting that envelope follower output, you wouldn't be able to make a compressor. Now, say if you've got, with this, maybe we should try and patch that up.
Okay.
With this, because you've got this sum here, you could take that envelope follower output into channel A, add a bias to it with the sum, but then invert channel A. So then you've got this like positive bias going into your VCA. That's keeping the VCA open. But then as soon as, like, say if you've got a drum loop, as soon as you get a loud drum hit into the envelope follower,
you're getting the opposite.
You're getting it ducking that bias down.
Yeah.
So it's then saying, okay, well, you should shut the VCA. You should mute the VCA a bit.
And
you've got a compressor. Like that's immediately what a compressor is, really.
And being like a sidechain feed, having that.
Yeah.
So okay, so we've got actually. This is something that's been interesting me then. The limit from DPW as well. We could use that, and they will actually cascade as well.
Cool.
Do they cascade? I think maybe you have to patch them to cascade, but can be either AC or DC. So with it being DC, then that would be good for the sensitivity. Then is going to be much better for limiting like a.
Yeah. So again, this is a total presumption. If Dan's still in the chat, he can clarify this for me.
Okay.
On the AC and DC, is the AC just AC coupling, so it just filters out the DC?
Okay, question for Dan.
Let's wait for Dan. It's usually the other way around, isn't it? It's usually the other way around, where the chat's asking.
Yeah, asking us.
Questions.
But I'm trying to keep an eye out on the chat to see what is going on.
This is when he's gone to, I don't know, have his.
He's gone to the toilet.
Yeah.
Oh. But anyway, why don't we just, out of interest though, why don't we take? Actually, I just this is for my own curiosity.
Yeah,
if I come out of LFO1.
Yes.
And I'm going to go into the limit on DC.
Yeah.
In.
And do you want to have?
And I want it to come out into the data. Yeah. So we don't need to listen to that, but on the data. So I need to then go. I need to choose my channel. I need to say visibility. I'm going to turn that to be on. So I might turn. I'll turn the visibility off of the. Oops. Of the first one. Okay.
Oh, Dan says it's just AC coupling. So yeah, all that's doing when you switch it into AC mode, that gets rid of any essentially subsonic, less than 20 hertz signals that you might have. So it's good. It's if you, I don't know, if for whatever reason you've got audio and it's not set around 0 volts, that will then set it around 0 volts.
I gotcha.
So,
yeah, that makes sense. So, so here then, if I back off the limiter, we should see. What are we sending? Are we sending what are we sending?
Let's send
a triangle.
Let's just have it free.
Run it free. Okay. Sorry. I had the limiter. What am I seeing here?
Should I speed this up a bit?
Yeah, speed it up. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Do we need to give that more signal somehow, or am I? I'm doing that on DC at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see.
There you go. Yeah. So it's actually saturating.
It's saturating.
That's
our triangle.
Then. Ah, yeah. Yeah, so that's the level. So you've got this really nice saturation there, which can turn.
Cables all in the way.
This again is kind of an interesting thing. Is that in some synthesizer like oscillators, you actually make a sine wave. So something that is harmonically very, pure, whatever you want to call it. You actually do it by distorting the triangle. So it's a complete kind of backward way of thinking, but it does work. So this is what you're seeing with this limiter, is that you can saturate that very nicely into becoming a kind of sine wave. So
nice.
We could send that. Should we send it somewhere?
Yeah. So yeah. There we go. Where do you want to send? Is that long enough?
You choose. I've been patching for far too long.
Where shall I put it?
It's your rig.
Right. Oh no. Right. What have we got action going on? Is that going to reach? No. Let's get a longer cable.
Do you want? You might need to sanitize it.
Oh no. Right.
This is the thing. I mean, I feel for like the chaps down at Elevator Sound. This is here in Bristol for anyone who doesn't necessarily know.
Yeah.
They've just opened back up, and it's like, well, how do you let people? Do you have a, spray for all this stuff? It's tricky, right?
There is There is a little hand sanitizer station and things, but
it's tricky.
It is tricky.
I think we're safe because we'll go and bleach ourselves down over this. We'll look, kind of come out looking like David Bowie and Manu Felter.
Well, actually, because I am reptilian, I am actually immune.
Oh, you're immune.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I can't carry it either. So yeah. Okay. There. Where are we going to put it?
You choose. It's your
right.
ring.
So it's an LFO. It wants to kind of wiggle stuff around.
Whoa.
I'm going to put it into the pitch of this
It's wiggling very quickly at the minute. Let me slow it down a bit.
So it's gone into. I chucked it in the pitch here. So our sawtooth, which is coming out.
So now, if you change, this is a good way. I always think this is a really good way of actually hearing waveform changes. If you put it into the pitch of something, or the frequency of something, you can immediately hear. Okay, yeah, it's starting to like ease off there.
Yeah.
So then, if you change the limiter, if you bring that down, the kind of triangle shape should be more apparent. You should get less of the kind of like slowing down at the peak and slowing down at the trough. It should become more of a like I'm going up and then I'm going down.
Let's do that then. Oh,
you lost a light.
I think the light must have run out of batteries. That one.
No.
Oh no! Look at that. It's gone gloomy now.
It's goth modular.
Hang on. Let's just go to here while I have a fiddle with this.
It's the perils of live stream. I'm too scared. I'm still too scared to do any of this.
Well, let's see. We just need some more. Look at
more
that.
exposure.
We need some more exposure. There we go.
Top.
Yeah. Where are we? Oh, it's a bit
That
overexposed.
I don't know where that is coming from, but that is amazing. All of that.
Oh. Yeah. So, changing.
Oh, all of that.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. More of that. That's great.
Yeah. Better zoom. Do you want better zoom? Hang on, better zoom on this camera.
Better zoom.
Better zoom. What? More zoom. Focus. What are we zooming in on? What would the chat room like me to zoom in on? I don't know.
If only I had the ability to grow anywhere near enough facial hair to even somewhat compete with Gat. I tried during lockdown.
I tell you you can take cuttings if you want. and actually, what I've found generally is a little bit of my snot acts as a nice. So you rub a bit in and then put the cuttings in, and honestly, it'll go. But it's a bit like Japanese knotweed, you know.
It goes everywhere.
It'll go everywhere, and you won't be able to get rid of it. Right. Ooh.
Yeah, that is angry, isn't it? Ooh. It's got to be the angle grinder doing that squeaking. That's lovely. Oh, we have a light again.
The light come back on.
Hello.
Oh no! Hang on.
Now we're going to be overexposed. Definitely bright.
Turn it down.
Strange.
Why did that light go? It's a new
Is
light.
it solar powered?
No. But it's a new light, and it's doing things to try and give us a bit more illumination on the modular. I'm going to move this up a little bit. Okay, there we are.
It's a thermal cutout.
Oh, maybe. I thought it can last for 100 or so minutes, and I don't think we're at 100 minutes yet.
No, I'd be surprised.
Focus. Do you need more focus? I think that's focused, isn't it?
Is that on the data? I mean, even in the room, the data's quite hard to see.
Yeah.
We should.
Oh,
sorry,
in the
I'm
back
in
of your
the
head
way.
there.
Then. Yeah, great.
That's about as tight as I can get it. There. Oh, there. No, there. Right, sorry.
Is that any better?
Yeah, they're going to have to do.
Sorry, everyone.
You're just going to have to make do. Right, okay, so now, I've taken out the blooming, the disting, but that will act as a pitch quantizer.
Yeah. What was it that you were thinking of doing? Quantizing that LFO?
Yeah, quantize the LFO so we can make a musical phrase.
Let me.
Okay.
I don't know what you've got here. I mean,
Well, I mean, at the moment, all the Chaos devices are available.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we've really got anything that could work as a quantizer
No.
so much. Though, what does this .com do?
It's a sub. It's like
That's
it's
a sub. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not what I thought it was.
but it
That's
can
okay.
do some quite fun things.
Okay. What we could. Ooh.
We could try the Batumi. No.
Let's
go on.
let's stay with your idea.
Yeah.
Let's feed the
Yeah.
LFO
Okay.
into here. I'm hoping that this will hopefully maybe work.
Okay.
But then we can feed these outputs into the mixer, and we could maybe tune them manually to set different.
I like it
Yeah.
because our mixer is available.
Yeah.
This can generate multiple outputs from a single input.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's try it. I've got no. Again,
Right.
apologies to Taika if this does not work.
No, but he's been encouraging me to do things.
Well, then good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good way to be.
Yeah. So so whatever happens, it's his fault.
Should we try it? Should
Yeah,
give it a
we
go?
can. Yeah, so we can devote.
So
This is all Suit and Tie Guy's fault.
So let's just try it. Let's just take some of these. Again, I don't know if this does respond to CV.
Yeah, it does. It's meant to be.
Lots of little. You've got exactly the problem that I've got.
Little ones.
Is that all the little ones just disappear onto the floor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's more little ones down here.
So we're just going to run this in mono. So I'm just going to pan everything centrally, and then
Yeah.
let's just see. So where was that pitch signal going? That was going into the .r.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got something.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, there we go. Okay, so
Yeah.
if I speed this up,
Interesting.
so can we still change? No, we're on.
You'd have to. You can use the master pitch. There's a master
is
pitch
there?
global tune
Global
there.
tune.
Yeah. Assuming.
Let's try going into the FM input there, so then we can still, because this is another thing that you can try doing is you can make these kind of like. What I'll do is I'll just sync that LFO to the sequencer.
It's starting to make music, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
So-
music in that kind of abstract sense.
It's all a bit bonkers, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the great thing is that you stumble upon these things where it's like, okay, I know, I vaguely know that these are giving me some kind of like division of what's coming in here.
Yeah.
I know that I can kind of change the rhythm or the phasing, perhaps, with this like threshold control. And then you've got these square waves staggered out. Because you're just alternating between two different states with those, you can kind of tune them as musical intervals using the mixer, and then just bring them out. So we've got no quantizer, so we're just using the mixer to kind of tune, and
This is good. This is the good stuff.
it's a bit wonky, but because we're now going into that FM input,
Yes.
we can now play it with the keyboard.
Oh yeah.
Like that kind of thing. So you can kind of do transpositions, you know, classic kind of Tangerine Dream style. Again, again, this is what I do a lot. If I'm just jamming in the studio, I'll just have like a very basic, even just intervals of like fifths and octaves on a sequencer, and then have another sequencer actually doing transposition to different notes.
See, now this little thing, which I have shown, which I have done a little bit with, this can you can use one of the sequencers to transpose the other sequence, things like that. Yes,
you're in very nice sequencer territory there.
So if I play with the levels on there, then I can get
different intervals on that kind of like.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because you're not dealing in any kind of traditional musical sort of notation.
Yeah, totally not.
But I suppose this is one of the cool functions of the data as well, actually having a tuner. Guess we could get that up. If I route that from the tuner from the send.
Yeah, or maybe even actually try it. I wonder if I can try it from the oscillator, because that will track it a lot better then.
Yeah, some notes are kind of it's grabbing there.
Yeah, let's try it. We could even just try it from the square wave there. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
This is the only problem with using kind of LFOs to do this, is that it's very hard to stop an LFO and say hold it there, unless you've got a sample and hold, which again, if you had the disting in here, you'd be able to do that perfectly. So it's this is kind of where you start to get into the realm of like, this is a very experimental, source of music creation. I'm just going to kind of let it do its own thing. I mean, so recently I built I've got 3 of them at the studio now, the like big Surge programmer things.
Oh, yes.
And again, a lot of the time with that, I barely ever use a tuner. I do it by ear, and there'll be notes that are off, but they're so nicely off, where it's just like, that is wrong, but it's great. I love it. It's just enough to keep that sequence like, oh yeah, that's weird, that's nutty. There's enough like in that to kind of grab you a little bit. Obviously too much of it and it starts to become like, what are you trying to do? But it can be something to really kind of grab with both hands. I mean, I know people who are obsessed with like microtonality and getting microtonalism, real precise and really like intricately managed. This is kind of like a microtonal playground. You don't need to use any kind of like set structure. You've got it all there on a dial, and you just sweep through it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. I mean, this is a.
What actually are we listening to? This is still the C levels and
that does nice things, doesn't it?
So I saw someone said angle grinder, I think, in the chat. So it's both the angle grinder and the C levels.
Is it true that red cables have better bass response than the yellow ones? Yes, it is actually. Well, actually, the blue is best for bass. Actually, yellow is worse for bass. Yellow's good for sort of piss tonality. Actually, brown is best for bass, as we all know.
Sometimes that can be a little bit too much bass.
Yeah.
Nah, that's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, this is always the problem. Whenever I try and actually spend not that much time with other people's modular synth rigs, because I go away thinking, I need one of those, I need one of those, I need one of those, and yeah. There's a lot here that I really want.
It's lovely.
It's nice stuff.
Yes, but it's expanding so quickly that. So I've been talking on my show about how initially how I was not going to get another rack, and now I am talking about having to get one. And My current thinking is I'll just bring our little thing out for now.
Little jam.
My current thinking is to go another another
Arturia rack.
Arturia, yeah.
Yeah.
And have it like so it's rack on the up and the down bit. That's the technical term of the
yeah.
So because the thing is, what is really super cool about this is I've got the gig bag. Now I know it seems really silly because we're not going anywhere at the moment, but I like the idea of it being mobile, and this rig is mobile. So I was kind of thinking, I'll have a mobile rig and then I'll have one which is kind of living sort of in here. But then I was thinking, the problem with that is if you take the one rig out with you, you'll be cursing not having those other bits with you. I like this ecosystem that they've come up with in the Rack Brute sort of mini brute sort of thing. Now I did a little feature at Sonic ages when they were first showing them, and I was really curious about these the way these connect. Can I see that in the camera?
I was going to say that it looks like it's suction cups, but it's not, right?
No,
it can't be.
No, but what they did make this format like an open. Like you're allowed to use it without license.
That's neat.
And they were hoping that other manufacturers would adopt it, so it becomes a way of linking kind of rack cases together, so that we could be screwing into this one, but this could be screwing into a different one.
I'll have to have a look at that. I didn't even realise that was a thing.
And you know about this? Can you pull that one out? This is brilliant though. These little feet,
and then that all just folds.
Oops, that closes.
Yeah, that is nice.
And then it stays patched when you transport it.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool design. So until I see something that is, I don't know. Well, I've been looking at kind of rack units and,
I am a sucker for a 19-inch rack. I mean, everything at the minute is getting
that's the thing of racks, and especially when you're touring and gigging, rack units is essential, I guess. I mean, I don't anticipate that I will do anything like that, or anything, it's more just sort of taking it to jams and different things like that. However, who knows? I mean, I could be tempted to do some performances,
I mean, why not? I mean, it's kind of it's a funny thing because so from personal experience, when I started on Eurorack stuff, I never ever thought I would play with it live ever. It's too much of a headache. And when I finally kind of got persuaded into doing it, it was actually like, this is fine. Right. It's not that bad. Like if you particularly if you have a patch that you know that you can kind of like leave, and you've got enough flexibility in just tweaking and changing parameters, you kind of, I don't know, some people will say it's playing it safe, and I'm not really getting the most out of it, but, it does work, and it does let you, again, it comes back to the palette thing, it does give you exactly what you want to use live. If you say, well, I really want the EMS filter on my bass voice, you can do that. You can say like, yeah, great, okay, I've got an EMS style bass, great, down, perfect. It's that kind of mentality. But it's hard finding something that's really solid. I mean, what I do personally is I take, I've got a Lamond design DIY case. Ross sadly no longer doing cases for us, but there'll be kind of alternatives out there as well that you can probably find. And then into a Pelly case.
Yeah, good old Pelly cases.
Because it's got wheels, and there's so many.
You have to put stickers though. You have to personalise.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like Maplin were doing like a kind of knockoff Pelly case, and that was like super cheap. And I got one, and I was at some gig, and I had my bass head in there, and I came off the stage, and like there was just masses of them all identical. Like, Oh no! So yes,
worst.
actually, that's one dead cool thing. Most when you buy a modular a module, you open it up. Quite often, there's stickers inside. So those stickers are
super
useful. Yes. So don't stop putting stickers in things, folks.
Yeah.
They're good. Stickers are good. In fact, I'd like to cover the case, I think, with stickers. I think I probably will at some point. How are we doing for time? Oh, gosh, time is chipping away. I think we'll finish in around 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
Is there any chance you could see those things that are just over there?
The guitars?
No, but to the left of the guitars.
Oh, yeah.
Could you
I can go
them?
and grab those. Yeah. You might want to mute my mic. I might end up crashing.
So, you see... one of the things that really interested me when I saw Finn playing live for the first time, and we'd got to know each other a little bit prior to that, and Finn was supporting Blancmange, the classic 80s band Blancmange, who are really good. Yes, fresh beers. Sorry for the non-beer drinkers there. I mean,
It's really warm in the UK at the minute.
It's really warm in the UK, so it's tactical. It's tactical beer. It's purely tactical beer. But yeah, seeing you do that gig with with your modular rig.
Yeah.
Now, I'm Blancmange were using lots of backing tracks, which I guess is only they could only do their thing that way, I suppose. But the difference in sound between them using their backing tracks and, great songs and all that and great performance, yours sounded like... It sounded amazing. It was really noticeably more dynamic, more kind of...
It's strange, though, because, again, I mean, you must know this. Seeing a band tour, that was the first experience I had of following a band round and seeing them on different nights. There would be nights where their sound would be, and this is no critique on Adam, who was doing the front of house at all. I'm sure it was the rooms. There are... I'm putting that in a really silly place.
It's not like you could knock it over anything.
Well, yeah, exactly. There are. This goes out to kind of anyone who's looking at playing live. There are rooms that will sound, really good and really crap, and the number of times where it was like, it sounded great for me, and you think, the Blancmange show is going to be like cutting through,
right?
Because the drums,
man,
like whatever Liam, the drummer as well, whatever they're collating for those drum hits. The show in London, I brought a load of friends, and I think there's a track called "I Smashed Your Phone." On the album, it sounds great, whatever. Live, jeez, the kick is like taking a pickaxe down your whole body. It's massive, and in some rooms it would work, some rooms it didn't at all.
I wasn't trying to diss them in any way.
No, sure.
It was more that I think what I was meaning though is like whatever playback they were having compared to the sound of your modular creating that sound live in the moment.
I don't know.
You reckon that's still down to the room?
I think a lot of it is, and also a lot of it is like I will have nights where, I mean, that gig alone, that was actually a really bad set. I mean, if you came away from that impressed, then fantastic. But in terms of sets that I've played, I mean, it was pretty much every single thing that could go wrong went wrong.
Yes.
Again, with modular, you've got to treat it as an instrument. It's like if your whammy bar falls out of the guitar and you're like, I've lost it completely, and I really need it for this solo. What the hell am I going to do? You need to work around it. Yeah. You need to find like a different thing to do.
But I got to be honest, though, just going out with a pedal board and the amount of patching in the pedal board, and the pedal board is fairly, I've got little kind of it's all nailed down, so the cables are kind of so the amount of variables is, you try and limit how many variables there are, but still things can go wrong. And I was thinking about just the sheer amount of patching that you must have, that when you're in a sound check or if anything gets moved between the sound check, someone well-meaning is moving it and their hand just brushes across the front panel,
Yeah, I think it's a godsend having a sound check. I genuinely mean this. I'm deadly serious. If you can pick modules where your coarse and fine tuning on your oscillators is kind of a bit buried, it's probably a good thing. At least when you're playing live, because it does mean that if you do knock something, I mean, again, I get that quite a lot where it's like, oh, I've been tweaking that filter and my thumb's just brushed against. And again, it's the ergonomics of having a modular rig. You say like, oh, okay, well, I'll move that oscillator further left or further right. There's so many. Again, as you said, there's so many variables.
Yeah.
Both the things going wrong, but also how you can actually go about fixing that. And I mean, I always see like any engineering work as fixing problems. It's always coming to like, okay, well, we need to make this thing. How are we going to do that? How are we going to solve the problem of doing that? So, it's kind of, I don't know, it's strange. Regarding the sound, it is an interesting thing, because I mean, I get some people say like, oh, it sounds, huge, and then when I've thought maybe like it sounded a bit weedy tonight, and then it's so hard to tell on a stage though, isn't it?
No,
I mean,
you
know this.
God, absolutely. Yeah, it's
very strange.
It is, yeah, and that thing of like, oh no, I had a nightmare gig, and then everyone's telling you how great it is. Like, how could you possibly think that was great? It was utter crap. You just, you're just saying that to be nice. Like, oh no, it was really good. So I mean, but something I often think about with music, though, when you're performing music, it's a bit like it's a conveyor belt, and all the notes are on this conveyor belt, and they go past, and for the audience, it's like a conveyor belt, and the notes, as soon as the notes have gone past, they're kind of forgotten about.
It's Guitar Hero. That's what that is, right?
Oh yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. But the thing is, if as the musician you play a wrong note, instead of that note for the listener it's just like a wrong note, and it's just gone down and past, and it's gone out of their mind. It's happened and it's gone. They haven't dwelled on it. Unless we're a particularly mean audience looking for mistakes, but by and large, that bad note just kind of moves on by, and the audience has forgotten about it, and he's not judging the musician. I mean, if there was loads of bad notes, then they might start. But but I was going to say though that bad note, as it's gone by like that, for the musician, it's like, oh, I've just completely ruined the song. How is anyone going to ever talk to me again?
It's kind of interesting, because like with the modular, and I've spoken. It was Cenk, I think, at Electron, who said the same. It's like playing a game. It's a bit like chess, and like if you're playing with the modular, but the modular is also playing kind of against you, and kind of is like, I always feel that it's like, are you going to be friendly tonight, or are you going to,
are you going to
try and do me over?
Strange, weird things that you've never ever done before, and out of pure spite.
Yeah, and it is a weird thing. It's kind of like, I like to think that I've kind of honed things down enough now that it's less variable.
Yeah.
But the fun kind of goes away, and the seat of your pants.
That's where it's at, though, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm now kind of like, well, I've got a couple of like mutable braids.
Good musicians should not have whistle clean gussets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should be a little bit brown. Going back to the brown cables.
Yeah, apologies for that. Right, I'm thinking we're just coming up to the 1:30 time. So I think we might kind of wrap up, just so we don't go on too long. I mean, we've still got a good audience, and there's still a lot of chat going on.
Hello.
If you want us to carry on chatting for a while, I guess we can.
Yeah.
Hey, Maths is in the audience.
Hello.
He was on the Sonic State show earlier today, so nice to see him again.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, this view isn't our actual view.
Oh yeah, we are distanced. Yeah.
Just for latecomers. There is 1 meter. Whoops. So yes.
I kind of expect to start seeing this in supermarkets and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you spoke to Zoe, she would tell you I'm very, a bit touchy with people who are, just like, oh, they bodge past you and they're like, screw this. But at the same time, it's like, how far do you take that? How far do you have to...
I reckon people will start wearing jackets, which have kind of got built-in, like, umbrella type things, like to give, like, a kind of, like a circumference of a metre.
I did, the one day I did really get quite, cheesed off by it, and I was carrying my umbrella, and I did think, should I just open this and kind of use it like the Romans did?
Just stab.
Not even stab, just open it out as a shield.
Open it as a shield.
Right, but then you're falling into the real. You don't want to do that.
No,
you don't want to do that.
And again, with all the horrible things that is going on in the world, all those horrible things.
Yeah.
That this is where our retreating into the glorious realms of synthesized sound is just such a relief, and it is so amazing, isn't it? Just that when I've been having like just untold joy with this particular rig, and it's just getting lost in it and just getting and actually losing track of what on earth I've done.
Yeah, and it's really, again, kind of going back to like having a patchable synth that's already a thing.
Right.
It's really lovely because that gives you, if you can learn this thing inside out and then you just put one module with it, that's really neat because you can then learn that module inside out. I'm always very... and I realise this might not be the case with what you've done, and there's no judgment here because I think you've been far more sensible than some people have.
Well,
but I always tell people if they're getting into this or starting into this, just get one module, just get a filter, just get something that you hear the sound of a filter, or you hear some kind of effect module that you think, I want that, because it's more than likely that you've already either got a synth or you've got, I don't know, a guitar. Hopefully you've got some way of amping it up. You've got, I don't know, a mic. You've got an interface that you can feed into that thing, especially if it's an analog filter. You've immediately got something that will it will overdrive nicely. It will give you some kind of effect that's not really possible in software, and it's something that just starts you off.
Yeah.
And then, you can say, well, what if I modulated that filter with an LFO or even with some audio?
Yeah.
It's that kind of like Lego approach. Yeah. Where it's like, well, okay, I've built my little house, then I need to make a little garden. Oh, well, I've made one house, let's make a second house.
Yeah, and now I want my house's roof just to like open up, and then the floors just to kind of shoot up and shoot back down, and to kind of, and the windows to get really massive, and then to get really, really, really small.
What you want to do is you want to do Thunderbird's Island.
Oh, yeah.
But you want to do like... Were they ships or were they rockets or whatever? You want to do it like craft by craft, and then you want to make the island, and then you want to make the thing that goes, Thunderbirds are going.
Yes, nice analogy.
It's that whole, it's that building a universe. It's that approach that you want to kind of, I think you kind of want to slip yourself into, and you can really, something like clouds in particular. I got lost in that thing for like a week. It's amazing. I use clouds on my vocals live, and it's just for mangling stuff. I don't use it as a nice, pretty, granular thing at all. I use it as I'm going to scream in your face, and I can hit the freeze button, and it keeps it there. There's a little ghost of me screaming in there, going over and over.
Then you can have the volt per octave that then moves the freeze around.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it's very good.
It's great.
I haven't tried the Parasites.
You've got to put it on there.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So you can tell me, actually. So,
Parasites is amazing.
I'm sure everybody bloody well knows by now, but if you don't know... Clouds. Now, this is a clone of Clouds because it being open source. That is,
it's also discontinued now. So you can't get one new.
Yeah, I can't remember I'm really sorry. I need to find out who made this one.
It looks like it's an Oscillosaurus panel. I think.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It might be anyone who's built it. I'm not sure.
But one of the things about Clouds is that someone, I don't know who has developed Parasites, but I guess with it being open source, it's been developed by someone else, has taken the original and has kind of modified it. What's different? I haven't even looked yet.
It's just like it's just like everything's just a bit more. So you get 2 more modes on it. One is the reverb, so you get a fully tweakable version of Oliverb on it. I think there's a resonator as well. People in the chat might be able to help me out with this, because I usually just use it in like one mode.
Okay.
That is the screaming ghost in the machine mode. But it gives you as well on the blend control. That's like it's a. I think that is the same in the normal Clouds firmware anyway. That This knob is kind of multifunctional.
Yeah, it's multifunctional. Yeah.
But it just gives you gives you easier control of that, particularly live. It's really good. It's just try it. I don't think you'll go back.
Is there a SD card in the back of there or something?
No, you've got to. It's really clever. All the mutable stuff loads the firmware like an old ZX Spectrum would
through audio.
So yeah, you plug your sound card in there. You've got to make sure it's hot enough, but not too hot, and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But you just play it this really horrible audio file, and then it says, I've loaded. But it's all really well documented in the manual.
Okay.
Again, mutable, perfect manual writing.
Because that's not actually my module. That module is on is a loaner. So
okay.
So it's sort of. I mean, I probably will want to get one because it is really really nice.
It's lovely.
A lot of people go, "Oh, what you doing with that Radical is too big, like for the size of this rack." But I love it. And that's the get out of danger. That's your get out of jail card. That.
But the thing is, I was speaking to someone. I think it might have been Daniel. The 4MS pods that you can get now. They were using those and stuff like this, where it is like one big. I've got a ZDSP by Tip Top that I'm thinking of doing that with, because it's like,
so it's just a standalone.
Yeah, just like the Noodle Box, enclosure.
Yeah.
So you'll need some kind of power source, but as long as you've got that, it's in its own right. But it is patchable, and something like this, if you like the effects in it, then why not? Because then you could just say, well, I'm doing a tracking session today, and I just want the effects of this. I don't want this entire system. I'll just take it out in a pod. That's really nice.
See, I don't know if you know this. I'll just go really quickly on this. One of the things that's super cool is that you can set the entirety. You've got two multi effects unit. Well, 2 effects units that can be
some stuff.
Yeah, like a delay, tempo delay, chorus, flanger, phaser, rotary, pitch shifter, and string, which is a Carper Strong
resonator.
Resonator,
kind of thing.
yes.
Nice.
And you've got 2 identical ones here and here, but you've also got a reverb here. There's an awful lot of shift functionality, and there is a real kind of watch out for this.
Yeah.
Feature.
Everything feeding back into itself.
Well, no. What the problem is it like you need to press this shift to access lots of the functionality.
Right. Okay.
You have to hold shift and then move the control. If you hold shift and not move the control and let go of shift, it'll move it into a different mode, and you will have lost all your work.
Oh.
So the button that you have to press all the time is
okay.
That's the gotcha, and that's the thing you have to watch out for. However, what you can achieve with it is super cool, because if I go into here, this is the
that light show
snapshot mode.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So what happens is, it's not patched in. I'll just say really quickly, if you've got a sound, remember, so you've got an entire sound effect here. There's also an input gain with drive, and there's an output filter, which can be an EQ, or there's a whole range of different filter types.
Oh, that's cool.
All of that is in the snapshot. So all of the settings for everything. So So then you snap it. Right, press snap, and then whenever this is lit up, make a little adjustment. Snap.
Perfect.
Make some more adjustments. Snap, and then you've got up to 8 of them. Then going into the snapshot mode, you can then start to
fade between them, right?
See, so you've got its own LFO.
That's really cool. Have we lost a?
Everyone's been waiting for this. It's been a long time. Here we go. So you can have that moving really slowly, and there's all different modes, like the way it'll just morph it'll just morph all the parameters. And then this, you see, you can
change this.
You can put a modulator in
that's neat.
that moves this around here, and and we can make it reverse, and
which with your attenuverter might be very useful.
Oh, I didn't even think about using it with that.
Yeah. See, because you don't have because you don't have a depth control for that, right?
No.
So that would be perfect, because say if you just wanted like a little bit of movement on your snapshots, and then widen it all the way out in a take or a pass or something. Yeah. That's what your attenuverter's for.
Ah, yes. It's all making sense. Oops, light's going off. Now, I think because all my stuff is all falling apart and going all wrong, and we've got some beer to drink, and that went quick.
Cheers.
I'd like to say big thank you to Mr. Finlay Shakespeare. So,
it's a pleasure.
Of Future Sound Systems. So we haven't really talked much about. Well, let's just do that very quickly. Future Sound Systems make wonderful modules and collaborations with Daniel Miller and Chris Carter from Throbbing Gristle, and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Anything new? Anything you can tell us about?
There is something about to drop imminently, actually, that we've been sat on for far too long now.
Okay.
We should probably give you one, actually, because I think it might. Yeah. Well, I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
So if you have a look online, it's very easy to find what it is. But we are doing something towards the end of the month, I think. We've been waiting for various stars to align, and I think now they're all aligned. So.
Well, I'm feeling a lot more in alignment after today. Actually, this is fantastic. But I mean, really, thank you so much as well for joining me. Because
honestly, it's a pleasure.
This is so good, and
if this in any way has made anything a little bit clearer,
it is.
Then
no, definitely. And again, it's that thing of just trying to eke out the music out of it, and that's something that I was really, really, really hoping to do. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining us once more on this show, and Finlay, and futuresoundsystems.co.uk,
I believe.
Yeah.
This is really bad because we barely ever look at our own website, so whether it's still there, I don't know. It might have been hacked.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah.
And okay, wow, we've got a nice big audience there. Thank you everybody so much for joining. It feels horrible to stop when you've got so many people watching. But I'll be back again next week, and hopefully we'll have kind of figured a few things out more. Please comment. I really enjoy reading the comments. I'm going to read back through all of the comments that's happened today. Yes. And also your music. Under your own name, Finlay Shakespeare?
Yes, under my own name.
Out on Editions Mago?
Editions Mago, yeah. 2 albums now.
Two albums.
Is scary and weird. Third one in the works-ish, I think, at the moment. It's getting there.
And it's brilliant. I am a fan. Absolute fan. It's 100% of a fan. It's a really super cool. I think partly because I think your vocals are just really just totally convinced. I'm convinced when I hear you sing.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. It's always because it's always that fear that things get lazy, and
right.
I hope in the newer stuff that's not what I'm doing, but it kind of feels that maybe I am.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. That's for another.
I have played a video that we did work. I'll just very quickly whilst you're here. Let's tell that story. I mean, I know many of you have heard this story before, but I will repeat it one more time just because it was just bonkers. Is that I'd met Finn at shows and maybe Super Booth or Synthfest or various shows.
I think, definitely.
But I saw, I think Rick Olpin sent me a video of a performance where Finn was singing, and I was just like, wow, because I had no idea. And you have to see him, and you'll know what I mean. I had no idea, and I was just like, wow. And I think that must have just like logged in my brain a little bit. And I had a dream, yes. And in that dream, I dreamt that I was like a pop video director directing Finn in a video by this river and by this kind of in these trees and this old wall. and it was a really vivid dream. And I was sat outside a bar with my mate bang, and I was telling her about this dream, and midway through telling her about this dream, he walks past.
I walked past
on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
I was like, there he is.
I heard Gaz over the other side of the street going, Dad! I'm like, what the hell? Like,
how could you walk past at that exact moment? So then I said to him, I said, God, I had a dream about you last night. And you were like,
no, what?
You were like, what? I don't like the sound of that. And then I said, oh no, I was making a video of you. And he said, well, funnily enough,
I've
got a single coming out. And then I just went like, why don't we make the video in the location of the dream?
Yeah.
So actually, that video is the dream in reality.
It was quite funny because not only was I having a really surreal experience, but you were also having a really surreal experience. Yeah. And I think poor Rick was just there like,
he was super handy though, because we had we made a video. God, and we did it pretty much in a day. I just completely I love it. It's great.
That was top.
But you can perform even in that sort of situation as well.
I am there's one last plug, honest. I am doing something with Strange Brew and Nudes Radio here in Bristol tomorrow night, which is being live streamed. So I think.
Do you know what time?
Either 7:00 or 8:45. We haven't quite decided yet. It's all been a bit last minute because someone pulled out and they asked me, and it was like, yeah, great. So it's all being announced tomorrow. This is exclusive, Gaz Williams exclusive. But yeah, there'll be a live stream tomorrow if anyone wants to watch that.
Great. So
it might all fall on its.
So is that a website then? They go to.
I don't know. There's an event on Facebook. I think if you just go Strange Brew. They're a new venue in Bristol. Check them out.
Strange Brew Bristol, right?
And Nudes Radio, NOODS Radio. They're doing a thing together, and I think I am part of it. I don't know.
Great.
But you should watch it anyway, because it's a great project.
Excellent. Okay, I'm going to sign off.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much, everybody. Really, thank you so much. Honestly, it's just a real treat to have you all join us. And see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.